Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the Actors Area. I'm your host, Sean Robert Grant, and I hope this message finds you well. It is Saturday night where I am, Friday night, and I am on the airwaves. So happy to have you with me. As always, a great show topic planned for you, and we're going to get to that in just a bit. One thing here, so we started doing this new series called Actor Stories That Keep Us Motivated. And for whatever reason, they're taking a little bit of time to post part 2 on this podcast on the other outlets. So with that being said, we will figure that out and see what's happening there. Or I'm just going to record it again and tell the whole story for your benefit, and we'll go from there. But yeah, other than that, guys, let's get rocking. If you have any questions that you want to have answered, please write to shaung04@gmail.com. That's my personal email, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Not doing much since the strike hit, but I actually am doing some really creative stuff. So anyway, I got time for you. So, always got time for my listeners. So give me a shout if you need when you get a chance. So with that being said, guys, welcome in today. We are talking about your story as an actor and how it has the power to juice you up, so to speak, and help you to succeed, right? So I'm going to get into something real quick. So I graduated with a degree in social psychology, and psychology interested me. And this is way before I decided I wanted to be an actor. But I actually knew that as a kid growing up that I wanted to be a performer in some right. But this was like way before the time. But psychology interested me because I wanted to know how human beings are motivated. I wanted to know how the mind works and how it's affected by certain things. And what I realized throughout my studying is that, and just through observation, right? Human beings that had a motivating, internal, if you will, spiritual, if you will. I think spiritual probably is a better way to put it. But let's just call it motivating for the sake of calling it motivating. A motivating impetus within themselves, right? They were 37% more viable to succeed. Okay. And I read that in a psychology book, but I'll be honest with you. I think it's probably greater than that. Because here's the thing. When you're motivated, you have a target. When you have a target, you have something you can envision. And when you can envision something, you can feel something. When you can feel something, gosh dog it, you're going to be led and moved towards it, right? So it goes without saying, if you're in this business, what's your story? What's your motivation? What's your psychology that's going to move you through the ranks of the other 10, 15, 20 million people that are doing this, right? There's a reason, right? There's a distinct reason why people rise to the crop in this business and become super successful in a sense, become so out there and stand out so much, right? That it just pales in comparison to everybody else. Now tell me this though. What type of psychology creates a success? What type of psychology, what type of motivation helps you to stand out from everybody else that's doing it? Right? So you really got to ask yourself when you get the time to sit down and really dive into your psyche about what's my story? What am I motivated to do? What am I motivated to do in this industry? Right? What is it that gives me jet fuel to rocket off into a space that helps me to see nothing but those things that can help me. And I'm going to tell you something. It's got to come from a deeper place than just physical. It's got to come from a deeper place than just mental, right? It's got to be emotional, raw emotion, and it's got to be spiritual. And when I say something is spiritual, it means that it transcends all limits, right? When you can kind of have your mind move into a place where it transcends the limits around you, it then reaches the cusp of what we call spiritual success. And all that is things happen because, see, everything in spirit transcends time and space, right? We see this all the time. You see somebody who's been in the job, doing the business for like 5-10 years, and then all of a sudden they explode and get literally 10 years of work in a matter of 2 years, right? You see that all the time. Why? Because spiritually they've tapped into something, tapped into their stories, tapped into a psychology, tapped into a motivation that has helped them to transcend the time that it would have took if they would have stayed in the same level of awareness that they were in, right? So stay with me here. So when you think of it for yourself, because there's always something, right? You just, in human life, we never just fall into something. There's always a motivation, right? There's always a motivation. There's always a psychology that shows up that tells you, okay, this is what I'm going to do and nobody's going to stop me, right? I'll give you a perfect example. For me, for a long time, it was about proving people wrong, right? People thought I was remedial as far as school went. They thought I was slow. They thought I was, gullible. They thought I was like all these just defunct, just detrimental characteristics. These people who I felt like, to be honest with you, didn't even know me, would just all of a sudden throw these things onto me and attempt to make me believe that I was those things. So you know what I did is I'm going to show each and every one of you. And that motivation held strong for a long time. But what happened was I got so burnt out by it that I lost fuel, right? Because you can only prove people so wrong before you start to say, I'm sick of proving these people wrong. Like it's just taking up all my energy, right? So about the time everything began to fall, I needed to find something. I needed to find a greater story. I needed to find a greater psychology that would help me and that would sustain me on an eternal level if it needed, and not just on a physical level. Because the whole proving everybody wrong situation does good for a while, but then you just run on empty, right? You just run on empty. Your tank is just completely jacked of all the juice that you need. So around that time, it shifted, right? To I'm going to do everything possible to allow the universe to express itself through me creatively and empower and uplift each and every performer I came into contact with. Now that's long, don't get me wrong, but it describes exactly to the point the story that I need to succeed in. Let me tell you something. Here's what's amazing. The old story helped me to succeed as an actor. The new story helped me to succeed as a creator, as a writer, as an actor, as a performer, as a podcaster, as someone, a vlogger who does videos and stuff like that. The new story helped me to succeed in a multitude of ways, where the old story was just single pointed focus on one area, and then I wasn't fulfilled. And that's the thing. The new psychology, I'm completely fulfilled. Like before, I needed to be famous. Why? Because people who doubted me can see me shine, can see me perform, can see me, in my element. I needed it, right? And I say that with emphasis. But that's lack, right? You don't need anybody to do anything. You just need to do what you love. You need to do what is authentically expressing yourself as you. And that's when I shifted from that original one to needing the approval and needing to be famous and needing to be rich. All of a sudden, I began to benefit when I shifted from authentically creatively expressing myself as a God in me, as a performer, as an actor, as a writer, as all these amazing things, while empowering, inspiring, and uplifting everyone in my path. Guess what? It is just mind blowing to see the difference that it makes. It's mind blowing. When your psychology is geared towards yourself and your own selfish reasons, you don't go anywhere. Well, you might go somewhere, but then all of a sudden you find out you're alone and you're exhausted and you're just like, I can't do this anymore. But the moment, the motivation, the moment your story, the moment your psychology becomes about you tapping into something deeper, tapping into something greater within you that already exists there, you can take yourself to new heights. You can not just transcend, you can blast the older limits that were once present. And so you may be asking yourself, okay, Sean, I hear you. I hear what you're saying, but, show me what you mean, right? Well, it's easy, right? So you're in this ultimately because there's a part of you that loves it. There's a part of you that feels some sort of fulfillment from doing it, right? So you start there. But the thing is in a business that has so many different people going after the same thing, right? Instead of being caught up in competition, because competition takes us nowhere, how can we be caught up? Or I don't say caught up, but how can we delve into the aspect of creativity, right? And that's just tapping into that deeper, more spiritual aspect and essence. But you start with that love. It's always the love of wanting something you feel in your heart. You're just like, I just feel drawn to this. I feel called to do it. I just want to do it. Let's do it, right? And so you're in it. Now, what makes the difference? And here's a tip for you. God has placed something inside of everyone to make them different, but also to make them fulfilled by making a difference, right? With that seed that's been planted within them. You just got to find it, right? So I'm on Instagram and there's this guy, I think his name is Dewan Johnson. And, he's not only following an acting career, but he's devoted himself to creating a business to helping actors think bigger, right? And so he has a pretty big following, and that's really helped him to separate himself in this industry, right? And it's just something as simple as that. Like it just, sometimes you don't even know what it's going to be, and it could be the most seemingly outlandish thing, but it's your thing. And you owe it to yourself to have the courage to develop it in a way where it just motivates you no matter what happens. No matter what happens. My thing has been the vibrational actor. That's my concept that I've created, right? That's my concept that motivates me in addition to the statement that I told you earlier. No matter what happens, if I see that, if I hear that, if I feel that, I know that nothing can stand in my way of doing what I need to do, right? And it empowers me to no end. And there's a psychology within that because vibration is something that I'm here to help the entire aspect of humanity with. So what did I do? I take it and I blended it with my acting, right? So all of a sudden, not only is my acting great, but then it becomes impeccable because of the vibrational part to it and the steps that come alive, which you can find that book on Amazon in paperback and Kindle if you want to give it a read. It's a nice read, nice pocket pamphlet you can have for you to help you along in your career if you want that. But let's get close to wrapping this up. You know, you have a story about where you come from. You have a story about why you're in this business. You have a story that will, let's say, ignite a fire within you that won't allow you to stop until you continue to progress and progress and progress. And here's the thing. Here's the most common misconception, that you have to get somewhere in the industry. No, you don't have to get anywhere. You just got to keep progressing, right? You're here to grow. You're here to experience one role after the other to grow from those roles that you take part in. When you feel like you're not growing in the roles that you participate in, then you got an issue. But as long as you're growing, you're progressing. There's no end point. There's no journey, right? Even for people that say, oh, I want to win an Oscar or I want to win an Emmy. No, you don't stop there, right? If anything, it gets even, more filled with the idea of growth while doing this. You know what I'm saying? So find what that thing is. Find the psychology. Find out how it just creates that fire, that electricity that pulls you along, that really gets you moving to a place where internally, I got nothing to worry about because I'm going to get there, and I'm going to be who I say that I can be. And I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to continue to allow that to lead me down that path. And you just got to be sure. Here's a surefire way to really, really succeed. And I wouldn't be talking to you here today if I didn't follow this myself. If it's of a spiritual nature, which means it's helping humanity in some way, or helping all of the actors in some way, right? There's no doubt about it, you're going to succeed. When your vision becomes a vision to help other people as well, you will no doubt succeed. All you got to have is the right mindset and the dedication to see it through. But that will guarantee success in any endeavor. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. It is a pleasure to be with you on this Friday night. Hope you're doing well during this strike. Keep your head up. Keep rocking. Look, if you're not working on anything, which I know a lot of the SAG-AFTRA actors aren't, a lot of actors, period, aren't, directors, writers as well. Visualize yourself working again. Be grateful for the things that you have experienced up to this point, and really just tap into that right now, because that's going to pay dividends for you when this thing gets going again, because it will get going. No doubt about it. I trust and believe that. So anyway, if you have any questions, like I said, I'm here for you. shaung04@gmail.com, and we will talk to you soon. This is Sean Robert Grant signing off. Have a wonderful night, wonderful day, wonderful evening, wherever you are, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.